So I'll be
Okay,
driving while we talking, but I can pay attention.
take your time. Take your time. Hey, Chief,
Yeah.
what is your spiritual or religious background?
So I was a Christian for like damn up until I was like 13, 14. And then from there I did a Hebrew Israelite thing. Then I kind of stepped into the Muslim side of stuff, and then from there I just did like I guess you kind of said like regular spiritual stuff, like with all the crystals and stones. Then I just like went solo.
Okay, all right.
Yeah,
So you pretty much and then you rogue, you individual, you're an individual, or
yeah.
you doing your own thing. Okay, and then my brother from Philly,
What's up?
you still a Christian, right, my brother?
Still a Christian.
Okay, I thought I converted you, but okay. All right, so we trying to. Y'all want to start? Where y'all want to start at?
Yes, I want to understand like what's how you feel about like Christianity versus logic.
I'm all about logic, so I'm trying to figure out what issue, what logical issues do you have with Christianity?
It's a lot of them as far as like
Give me your
Mary
biggest.
having Jesus as a virgin and stuff like that.
All
Like,
right,
would
what's
you
your
believe if your daughter walked in the crib, she's 12, and she was like, "Yo, pops, I'm pregnant," and you like, "Who did it?" And she was just like, "Jesus." Like, would you like God? Like, would you believe that?
uh? I'd be skeptical initially.
All right. And then how long would it take for you to like actually believe? But she been saying this old man though. Like, how long would you believe?
But yeah, but yeah.
No,
Gotcha.
it's simple. At first, to believe something like that, like to blindly believe that would be stupid. So if I know she been, dating somebody, that's already illogical. So just to narrow your example down, like in that exact example, because I got a daughter. If she was dating somebody, she already like outside of what she's supposed to be doing. So I already would be in doubt that that actually happened because Mary was a virgin and actually living a certain type of lifestyle. If my
Mhm.
daughter was doing what you just said, she wouldn't even be in the realm of being chosen by God because she already doing something unholy. If you get what I'm saying, like
So,
just to give you an example, if you knew me, I'm married, and then I got two women on the side, and I told you I was a prophet, you should be skeptical just because my lifestyle don't reflect me being holy. So that's what I'm saying as far as your example. Mary is a different example than compared to what you gave. My
how is
daughter,
Mary?
that would be sketchy.
But how is Mary different? Like, if we put your daughter in Mary's position, how would
No,
that be
so
different?
so Mary was different because you would have to with Mary specifically. Most people doubted in general all the way up until after the birth. A lot of people didn't even believe until after they seen miracles from Jesus. So they was just like us. We all would be skeptical. Like, wait a minute. So you trying to tell me you with a man, you're married, and you saying that's a virgin? You got to think about it. Most people didn't believe Mary all the way up until after they seen the miracles of Jesus.
Wait,
So
can I ask you one question though?
go ahead.
What does the word miracle mean?
So I'm gonna define miracle as something that's supernatural or outside of the realm of a natural occurrence.
Okay, but that's not what miracle means. Miracle means you to wonder. It means that you don't know how it happened.
So again, we still would when I say if it's outside of natural occurrence, yeah, we don't actually know. Which is
Yeah.
like I give an example. This lady, she was skydiving and parachute never opened up. She collapsed hit the ground and she survived, made a full recovery.
Hmm?
That's outside of the realm of natural. So
How
I would
how
say
far
that's a
outside of the
miracle
realm
for
of natural is it? It's still
well,
a
given the
lot of
fact
things
that
like
we
that
can
has happened though. But Mary is like a one off in that aspect.
I mean, there was people that woke up in the casket that was declared clinically dead. You're
Yes.
talking way later. I'm saying that's outside of the occurrence of natural. That doesn't naturally have. There's natural phenomena that happen that a scientist or a doctor can't explain. So that's what I mean by miracle. We know the results, but we still can't explain it.
Okay. And once we can explain it, is it still a miracle though?
Not necessarily.
So what is it still miraculous that Mary had a baby by Jesus? And by God,
Yeah, I mean, so we can explain it as in God made that happen. God intervened. Like, if God intervenes in something, like that's the explanation. It still don't mean we literally know how He physically sent the spirit to get pregnant. Like we still wouldn't know.
is God still intervening now?
Yeah, I mean, we all still living.
But how do we know that that's God though? How? Why I can't say that's my friend James or something like that? How could
So
you prove it's not James?
where does life come from? Do you think life came from like nowhere, or
I mean,
like
there's always a certain point, but that doesn't mean just because I don't know that does not mean that it's God though.
no? That doesn't mean it. But what we do know for a fact is none of us can control when we die. We can smoke, drink, or we can live healthy, and neither one of those things would change our date of death. So we do know we have no control over how long we live.
So
So
you feel like
there's
everything
something.
is predetermined?
Uh, what he said.
You think everything is predetermined?
Not everything. Our date of death, that's predetermined.
So. What about the things that lead up to it though? If I'm gonna die
We
regardless at 96, like would it matter what I did?
No, it matters what you do because there's going to be a consequence to after for what you how you lived your life. It's like saying we know we about to crash this car. We about to drive into the wall. But if one person bail out and everybody else can stay in the car, it's going to affect the outcome of what happens after that car crash. The car crashing would have been inevitable in that sense, but the actions you chose leading up to the car crash is going to affect how bad of injuries you're going to sustain. So our choices is relevant because we got free will. The only thing we have free will to an extent. We are in control of our actions. We just not in control of our life as far as when we die.
So what
If that
about
makes sense.
what about when God said He created the end before the beginning? Like He created our whole life. How do we have free will in that sense of everything was already created for us? Like me and you was
What?
gonna have this conversation regardless, right?
Yeah, as far as I know. So where does it say He created the end? It says He know the end. He declared the end, like He knows it. So
So
let me give an example
what does it mean to
of
declare the
knowing.
end?
So for an example, imagine I give you a simple example. Yeah, I'm assuming everybody here is saying what the heck is that movie? The Black Panther movie.
The first
Yeah.
one, yeah.
Yeah, so we all know Killmonger was going to die. So if we all watch the movie the first time, we know the end. And if we start the movie over, us knowing the end will not change what happens in that movie. We just know what's going to happen.
But the directors that created the movie knew the whole thing, right?
No, agreed. So imagine this: the director knows what's going to happen. So once we now know, would that affect what happens in the movie?
But God ain't us; He's the director, so He knew.
So God gave us an appointed date of death.
Right.
The only what He
And
said was
birth.
He's going. No, agreed. So we got a birth. We got to start in the end. He said,
Mhm.
"I'm gonna allow you." So He didn't want us to be robots. So He's going to allow us to make actions to freely choose to love God. So let me give an example. Like as far as if you got kids, you're not going to force. You don't want to force your kids to say Dad, I love you. You want them to come to that conclusion by the stuff you do for them.
But I'm
But if
not
they
God, so I wouldn't be able to. I wouldn't be able to make them do anything regardless, though.
no, what I'm saying is, imagine. I'm giving that's what I'm giving you an example as far as in your sense. You wouldn't want your kids to be forced to say that they love living with you, right?
Mhm.
You want them to actually freely say, "No, I love living with my dad. Yeah, I mean, he's the greatest." And somebody say, "Did you pay them to say that?" No, they said that on their own. Which one would you prefer? Them to be forced to say it or say it because they see what you do for them?
The second one.
Right. So that's what God chose to do. So we're not His slaves. Like in Islam, you have no choice.
But what
The
about
God
people
in the
being
Bible,
punished for not loving God, though? That sound like we're being forced. Like, would you be a Christian if you wasn't, in a sense, forced though?
yeah. Because let me tell you why. So same example, your kids. If your kids did something, like start breaking your valuables and stuff like that, breaking your car on purpose, intentionally disobeying you, and you're like, dude, I'm providing all of this for you. You're gonna would you take that as disrespect?
Yeah.
Right. So, and then imagine you say, listen, you sit your kids down, and say, listen, don't do that. Let me show you all the stuff. You explain to them how you provide it. And then a week later, they turn around and start trying to sabotage you again. Would you say, look, man, you got to get out until you get your life together? Let's say they 18. Would you say, like, would you let them just do what they want, or would you set up a punishment until they get their mind right?
It depends on the situation.
Right. But you would want to implement some type of consequences so that they self-correct, right?
To a degree, yeah.
So, and that's a kind of a simple example, but God is much more serious. God gave us life and the ability to think and reason. We don't even need to go to religion to say I shouldn't go rape my neighbor.
Wait, but did God give us that or Satan give it to us?
No, God gave us the ability to reason, like the ability to think. Like we're self-aware.
So at what point in time did God give it to us?
When we were created.
So in Genesis?
Yeah, I mean, we want to go back to the origin. When Adam was made, Adam was able to, receive directions. Don't do
But
this. Don't do this. You're allowed to do this.
making a choice though, as far as that went, wouldn't it be Satan though? He helped him.
What Satan did was tricked Eve into taking the fruit because Eve wanted to be wise, so she took the fruit. She ate the fruit. Then they learned good and evil.
And
Up until
but
that,
what does wise mean?
wise mean my definition of wise is the ability to understand knowledge and how to use it, how to apply it.
And what's
Like you got
knowledge?
people that knowledge is just facts. Like facts. You got people who know the distance between here and Africa. Like those are facts. But knowing how to apply something in your life to make it applicable, like that's what I call wisdom. The ability to use the knowledge in a good way.
And knowledge is also being able to defer right from wrong as well too, right?
What that would be the knowledge of morals.
And in order to know morals, like did Adam and Eve know morals before they ate the fruit?
Uh, Good and evil they didn't know. So the only thing they knew, no, the only thing they knew up until that point was the directions they was given.
And if you only know directions, do you like that's really just it though? Like you don't really know nothing else besides go do what I say.
Same as your kids. And, same as if we had children. Yo, just do as I
Now
say.
your kids know how to. How many times you have to stop your child from playing in the sink or eating something they're not supposed to?
A kid wouldn't know why they have to do chores and you don't. Like you might have to explain that a couple of times. They see us sitting around not doing no chores at all, and then
Mhm.
yo, do the chores, do the dishes, and they never see us touch it. Well, why I got to do it?
And the reason why they can ask that is because of what?
They lack the wisdom on the full scope of how a household work and how much you're actually providing for them.
And
They're
who gave them
kids.
that? And Satan was the reason why we had that wisdom in the first place, right?
No, I disagree.
But
It's
you
because
just said that Satan
Satan
gave that.
tricked no
Yeah.
Satan tricked Eve and what Eve did was Eve ate the fruit. It's not like Satan gave her the fruit. She
Hmm.
still took the fruit herself.
But she wouldn't have had wisdom or knowledge of anything before then.
We don't know that.
So at what point in time was there that she had wisdom before that?
We only know no, so we only know the facts. Anything else would be just hypotheticals. Like we were hypothetical all day. She could have got wisdom later. She could have like they could have been obedient for 100 years straight, and then God said, "Listen, I'm gonna give you the ability to live forever and give you the ability of good and evil." We would just be doing hypotheticals all day. The only thing we know is what was documented.
Right. Now we do know. Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I was gonna jump in right quick because I think we just touched on something that might be gold.
Go
Uh,
ahead.
I, now I want y'all to keep going, but this might be the title for the debate. Knowledge, did it come from Satan or did it come from God?
Well, it came from the fruit. It was God's fruit, so that would have came from God. It
I'm
would be
saying,
like,
I'm saying it.
is that the topic?
I'm saying if that's the topic, there's so many ways you could go with that.
Because I feel like logic would have to be part of that knowledge, though. If they wouldn't have ate that fruit, they wouldn't have had logic.
I don't want to touch
As
on it. My bad. I want y'all to keep
No,
going
no,
though.
no. Yeah. So I mean, logic will be slightly different. That's a certain aspect of it. You're talking about a moral logic.
Or logic overall, because like if you can only really take direction, you can't logic. You have to have reason to be able to use logic. This I would rather spend my $5 here instead of spending it over there because of this, right?
No, but what I'm saying is, it wouldn't be immoral for you to take your $100 and buy a cheesesteak for $100 versus $10. They're both the same. It's your money. There's no moral dilemma there.
But behind
But
it though, you can save money and spend that other ninety
that's
dollars
still
somewhere else and stuff like that. But
it's
if
not.
you
But
just get
it's
told directions, you can't make those choices and
no.
connections.
No, I understand what you're saying. I'm just saying there's no moral dilemma there though. If you wanted to waste your money, like a lot of people do, they waste their money on something stupid. It's nothing immoral about it. It's not a sin. But
Definitely.
knowing that you're naked and walking in front of somebody else's wife, that's totally different. That's a totally different concept.
Mm.
So there's a lot of things that we do in life. You know, if I choose to jump on top of my car and put dents in it, there's nothing immoral about it because my car looks raggedy. Like if it's still
Yeah.
functioning, it's my vehicle. Me jumping on somebody else's car that doesn't belong to me, that's a moral thing. It was
Yeah.
just them two,
Was it just them two?
as far as people. Like, and we talking about the very beginning.
But there was other people before them.
Not that I'm aware of.
It was though. Cause I Cain and Abel, right?
Right?
One of them got married. Who was the other people?
They had a bunch of kids. So we all sisters. All of us are all related. All of us.
We're
Everybody on
not
the
all
planet is
related.
related.
If you go back and say let us make men in our own image, and then later on, Adam and Eve get created. So who was the people that was made when God or Elohim, whoever people want to say, said let's make men in our own image? Who was those people? Where did they go? What happened to them?
No, God says, "Let us make man in our image." I mean, this is,
Hmm.
if you're familiar with Christianity, we got the Trinity, the Father, the Son, and Holy Spirit.
But what happened to those people before God created Adam and Eve? He said, "Let us make men in our own image," and then
Well,
those
who do you
people were
think?
created, and then he went to the
No, who?
Garden of Eden. And
So you got in the beginning, like where like you read the book of Genesis, it talks about he made this on the first day, the second day, third day, then he made man on the what's that, the fifth or sixth day? Sixth day.
Yeah.
6 day.
So then you get the Genesis 2 where it's talking about the creation of Adam and Eve. So you look at verse 1, it's not telling you exactly what he's doing. It's just giving you the brief summary. This happened on this day, this happened on this day. Chapter 2 gives you a detailed version of how we got man and woman. So it's just re-emphasizing what happened, if you
All
get what
right.
I'm saying.
But okay, now let's go back to logic. Do you really think woman was created out of a man's rib?
Why not?
How many ribs you
What?
got?
I didn't count. I would have to
how
look it
many?
up.
How many ribs do a woman got?
I mean, they should be structured the same way as us.
So, but if they're structured the same way as us, that means that we're not missing a rib. We got
Yeah,
all our
we
ribs.
ain't.
They got all their ribs, right?
We wasn't created. We were born. We were reproduced. But do you think a big giant apple tree actually comes from a little tiny seed, or does that seem
Yeah,
ridiculous?
yeah.
Now, why do you believe that?
Because that's the starting point. Like when humans, we start off inside our
So,
mothers and stuff as the egg, and then we,
so a big giant tree comes from that little tiny seed,
for sure.
and it produces a whole bunch of fruit with other seeds.
Yeah.
So where's it illogical for a human to be created from one rib when a big giant apple tree is created from a tiny seed?
Can you recreate that though? Can you take somebody's rib and then do the same thing over again?
I'm not God.
Not what I'm saying, but like, do you think it can happen again?
No, because how do we get offspring? How
And but
tiny is a sperm?
I guess my question is why can't that be replicated like genetically? Why wouldn't if Adam is missing a rib, why aren't other men missing ribs too? That's my question
Yep.
to you.
Well, that would just be the starting point. I mean, it's just what it is. God chose. So the Bible says God chose the foolishness of man. If God chose a lot of science and logic as far as like evolution and evolving things, men really wouldn't. How would God get glory out of that? God is showing like, dude, I'm so powerful. I could use something that you wouldn't even think of and create all of this just to show you. You should have that much confidence that I can make whatever work in your life. I can use any nonsense and make it work out for you.
But I personally never seen it though. Like, let's say, man, a lot of stuff be happening. Like people be praying for their light to get paid or their rent to get paid, but then they be like a little girl be getting raped. It's like you telling me like God wanted to help you pay your light bill over this little girl getting raped. Why he ain't
No,
why that why he ain't stop that?
so evil. So
Not
the
not
hard
not
part.
just evil. Why he ain't step in? Like nope. He a grown man. What he asking you to help him pay his rent for? Go help that little girl. You helped him pay that rent though instead of that little girl.
Listen, I'm 100% in agreement with the question. You have, you know how many Christians pray and fast and nothing happened?
Yeah.
How many of these same Christians praying and fasting on a Sunday and begging God to come and intervene, but Saturday night they was at the club and hooking up with people, and then people say, "Where was God at?" God seen what they did and then ignored them. Oh, so you gonna be phony? And then they get mad and say God wasn't in my life. We can't be hypocrites. It
I
would
mean,
be
but
like
what
if
that
you
got to
got
do
to
with the little girl getting raped though? Why that don't stop God from helping that little girl though?
God sometimes help and sometimes He allow uh, stuff to play out. They end up dying or whatnot. I mean, it's a consequence of our action. The hard part about being God is essentially our creator, our parent. The hard part about being a parent, a loving parent, is you have to allow your children to make mistakes. So, let's put it in the example
What
you said of rape.
what's
I,
that
I,
what's that
want-
what's that child's mistake though?
no. Let me give you the example of what you use as far as rape. So imagine I'm about to go rape a child. If God
Yeah.
intervened every time somebody was about to rape, do I got free will?
You can't say that word, bro.
Oh,
Oh
yeah, my
yeah.
fault.
Yeah,
I keep
What's
forgetting.
that? Can we,
So,
what's that? Great.
yeah, say
Great.
great.
so if I went to do some miscommunication with a young child, if God intervened with every person who wanted to do that type of action, do we got free will at that point?
Nah,
If
but
God
why?
inter-
But why wouldn't he?
it's the consequence of having free will. You have to also allow people to make mistakes, regardless of how evil it is. The beauty of it is God has a judgment date for everybody, and anybody who are holy and had something wrong happen, they'll get corrected, but and get everlasting life. But the problem is, if you want to have people to make free choices, that people is going to do something negative. Just like in your own household, you can have 10 kids and 8 of them do something wrong because they just want to do their own thing, and 2 of them is the only ones that's following directions. Are you going to force and lock up the people that the 8 that's doing something wrong? Now they don't have any free wills. So how do you have free will without God interfering?
I don't think God gave anybody free will, so I don't like
No,
that's
I'm
not mine.
saying, how will somebody not miscommunicate with a little minor without there being free will? Like how who like is everybody just going to be positive and holy?
Nah, I don't think there will ever be a time where everybody will be positive or holy.
So if God exists and He wants us to have free will, there's going to be evil.
But I don't think he do exist, and I think that's why there is evil. I think he would stop it. Like
So
if somebody
that
if something like that was happening, right? Let's say somebody's daughter was getting raped, and I sat there and I prayed. Do you think she would have a chance of that rape stopping, or from God, or should I stand up and go do something?
well, there's twofold.
And if you expect for me to do something, then you have more faith in me than you do God.
I actually don't have much faith in any human, just because most of the time we all do something selfish,
But would
and
you
most
expect me to
people,
do something though? Would you
nah,
expect you wouldn't?
if you see my tag, I'm from Philly, so over in Philly, this chick was getting miscommunicated with on the train, and the guys on the train decided to pull out their phone and record it.
Oh shit.
This was in daytime. You can Google it, like on the train in daytime. Instead of actually stopping it, they pulled their phones out and start laughing. Of course, they all end up getting caught because this was in broad daylight. It wasn't like this was at nighttime you barely could see. In daytime on a public train, nobody tried to stop it. So no, I don't expect anybody to intervene on behalf of somebody else because from a natural point of view, we all want to be selfish. We all want to take care of our own self. It's not my problem. That's the thing about free will. We have the ability to choose to do the wrong thing. It's also the easier thing to do. It's harder for me to take money out my pocket and give it to a complete stranger who needs the money. I watch people say, "Oh, I ain't got the money," then just go on vacation and then let somebody go be homeless, get evicted. Happens all the time.
So you saying our choices is what? It's our choices, you saying?
We have the ability to intervene, and most of the time we don't. I mean, just look at police. If we're going to go that route, how many times the police job is to walk off, and yet they decide to exercise their authority way above what they're supposed to do because they can get away with it?
Now, yeah, but that's still a man versus God, though.
No, what I'm saying is when we have authority to do things, most people still choose to do something selfish, and then they blame God.
Because I feel like God's supposed to come step in and do something, though.
So if you was doing something wrong, God came in and stopped you. Let's say you was robbing somebody, or something as little as stealing from somebody.
Yeah.
If he say, "Hey, listen, you ain't supposed to be stealing. We're gonna go ahead and take your life," what would be your response?
You have to accept it at that moment. I mean, if that's what it is. But I'm saying, like, why
Would you want him to
can't?
give
Why
you?
hasn't he though?
Who would survive?
That's a good question. Who?
None of us. All of us did something that we should have been doing at one point, and at one point in time, all of us did something that was crazy. That we look back on at our younger self like, "Yeah, I shouldn't have did that."
So you
We
saying
all
like,
would be dead.
but so
Nobody would survive.
you think no human is perfect?
No. Who you know perfect?
Do you think God is perfect?
God is perfect.
So if somebody perfect can create imperfect things, do that mean that the creator is imperfect?
Nope. I'll give you an example. If you make a car and you say, "Hey, listen, this car is right the way I designed the car. The purpose I designed this car is for you to transport 4 people to and from work at this weight capacity. Let's say the max is 1,000 pounds.
Mm-hmm.
So the max person is 250. Now, if a person take the car and go to Home Depot and load it up with a bunch of plywood and put 4,000 pounds on it, and then the car falls apart and crash, they can't blame you and say, "Yo, your car's a piece of crap." You gonna say, "I didn't design it for that purpose." It's the
But
same with us.
that's purpose along with capability. And we have
Agreed.
now humans have, I don't believe we have certain purposes, but I guess from this point you're saying we have certain purposes. But I do believe that we have a lot of capabilities. But if God designed us with purposes and capabilities, for us not to perform with those purposes and capabilities mean we're not perfect and he's not perfect.
So you don't
Or
think?
we're
Go ahead.
doing exactly what God wants us to do. So if I'm outside robbing and killing, that's something God will also do as well. How far am I from God?
Let's see if you're what you said was. Let's use some logic to it. So you don't think your ears have a purpose?
For sure. But I'm talking about the essence of like a human existence. Is there any real purpose? No, I don't.
Yeah.
What's the purpose?
So do you think we should be alone, or do you think we should be like with other people?
So
We're
you
just gonna
saying
use
your purpose
logic.
is to be here with other people?
No, I'm trying to go to a conclusion, but we're trying to build it to see if there's actual purpose. Or have you ever seen somebody healthy functioning in solitary?
It's quite a few people.
When I say solitary, I mean completely off the grid with
Voluntary
nobody
confinement,
else,
like prison and stuff like that.
or somewhere stuck in the woods by themselves. Nobody would survive that way.
Who? It's quite a few people.
Nobody would thrive by themselves. We would survive. I mean, we can survive with one lung and one kidney.
Yeah, but that's thriving. That's not like thriving, surviving. That's two different things. You said what
Agreed.
survive, and I said yeah.
Right. So no, yeah. So we can survive that way, but do you think that's healthy?
But that's different from having a purpose, though.
No, it's with the logic of the car. A car, we can overload vehicles and do things that it wasn't intended for, but that's not the optimum use of it.
Okay, but what's the purpose of a car is for what? Transportation, right?
Transportation, right?
What's the purpose of a human?
The fellowship with each other, and give, and we also indirectly get or directly give glory to God for it. But
So
we're
our
supposed to
purpose is
fellowship and
just
build
to
each other up,
fellowship with each other and praise God.
right?
So that's the only thing that we created for.
You need a different purpose.
I don't think there's a like. So that's our purpose. We can't even prove that there is a God.
Well, let's use logic. Let's because we was talking about logic. Where have you seen life come from in your eyes? Like, where did you personally see life come from? Like, how did human life get here?
A woman's
All the
womb.
life by what?
A woman's womb.
So you seen there was another person involved to create to make another life come.
Was definitely.
So have you ever seen life come from something that what you ever see a human come from something that wasn't a human?
Nowadays they can, but nah. Prior, nah.
Right. So we only ever observe life coming from life.
Mhm.
So we know our life, like our personal life, began from our parents. Eventually, logically, there had to be something that created it to start. That's just
Yeah.
logic.
But what's the purpose though? Like we know why
Well,
trees have their purpose, but what's a human's purpose?
again, it's the fellowship with God and each other.
So, but what? Why does God need any of us?
Where does God need us? He don't need us. He can kill
So,
every last one of us and then still be existing.
so our purpose is to fellowship with somebody that don't need us.
Yeah, why not? I'm gonna give you a
So
perfect
that so that's
example.
so that's like saying that's still saying we're useless though.
In the grand scheme of things, I mean, we're useless in the fact of again, we're not God. So imagine if you got a motorcycle and a car.
But those have purposes though. That's not nothing without a purpose.
Oh no, I'm agreeing that they got purpose, but
Mhm.
do you need? Imagine if you got your daily driver. Do you need the motorcycle?
A need versus a purpose is two separate things though.
No, but you said God don't need us.
Yeah.
You wouldn't need that motorcycle in that example.
In that example.
Yeah, no, that's my point. We have things that we don't need. It still don't mean we don't want it. I don't need
But
my kids. I don't need my kids at all. Don't need
well,
my
what's the
wife at
purpose
all.
of you having kids though? To
Build a
for them to
family.
have kids and so on and so
I,
forth, right?
yeah, no. It's so I can so I can give back and give things to somebody else and help better their life. They expand. Why not?
Yeah. Now that's
Why
that's
be
a
by
set
yourself?
that's a set purpose though. But what's a human's purpose as far as like the relationship to God?
It's the same with God. God is able to give us things that He wants to share His abilities with us.
But he
He's
doesn't
literally
need to. And a lot of times he hasn't. He hasn't.
He don't need to, and same way I don't need my kids. Where's the difference?
But you need your kids to prolong whatever. Like if you got a business, you're gonna need kids to
I don't
carry
need
on
my
whatever
kids to
and
do.
so on and so
I
forth.
don't need my kids to do none of that because I wouldn't care. That would just be me, man. From an actual realistic reason, I don't need my kids to carry on no legacy of mine at all. If I'm not going to be there, what would I care?
Your genes and genetics. So you wouldn't use them
But,
for that. That's a purpose though.
but I want to be there though, so why would I even care?
Why
If
wouldn't
my
you?
life's going to end, why would I care? I ain't going to be there. F them.
Oh yeah.
I'm
But that's
sorry.
still but that's still not having a that would still be like not having a purpose though.
The purpose is love. When you love somebody, you do things for that's going to benefit them and not just yourself. So
So the purpose of a human should be loved.
that's why God chose to bring us into existence because He loves us
But
and He
didn't God say
wants.
that he regret making men though?
Yeah, I'm gonna give you an example. Give you a perfect example of that to see if because I'm using logic. So everything I'm doing, I'm trying to use logic. If my kids, like the example I gave you, if your kids start destroying your stuff, you're gonna regret having people who are ungrateful. It still don't mean you're gonna stop trying to get them to see the correction. What you got?
I was on. Do y'all know that the Bible verse where it says he regrets making humans?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was in Genesis.
Genesis. I'm just writing it down. But y'all keep
Yeah,
going.
but I
My
believe it
bad.
was before the flood, before when Noah was born.
Okay.
Right before the flood, he repented. Because they was doing evil. So you don't regret. Many people regret. Choosing they spouse when they start doing evil stuff, cheating or stealing their money.
And in order to have regret, that mean that you messed up, right?
No
So all right, what does regret mean?
regret. I mean, you can just
Can a
regret the
perfect person
situation.
have regret? Can a
Sure, why
perfect
not?
person have regret?
Why not?
But if you're perfect, you wouldn't have no regrets.
Regret doesn't always mean a mistake. Like, let me give an example. If you wanted to have kids and you wanted them to freely choose a certain path, this is the key. You want them to freely choose a certain path, for let's just say becoming a doctor.
Yeah.
And then they say, "Hey, listen, I want to be a porn star." You're gonna regret, like, man, like you don't feel empathy for people, like, because you know where it's going to lead.
Nah, but regret is like to feel sad or like disappointed, like you messed up,
And why would you feel sad?
because you messed up. You
No, no,
messed
but
up somewhere in what you did. You messed up.
all right. So when a stranger chooses to go down the wrong path, do you feel sad for a stranger when they tell you their problem and say, now they about to die? Like you wouldn't feel sad for a complete stranger?
Yeah, I would feel sad for a second
And why is that? Why do you think that is?
because I know stuff like that can happen to me.
Is any of it because you care about the person at that point in time?
At that moment, yeah.
Yeah, at that moment. So love is why we have empathy and start caring, and we actually feel something personal when somebody starts doing something evil.
But
That's the
I
only
wouldn't regret meeting that person or anything like that though.
regret, as in again, is I don't know. Let me see if I can give you a better example of, you know, somebody, if one of your kids say they wanted to get into gymnastics,
Mm-hmm.
and you say, listen, I don't think you should do it. I don't think you're really uh have that kind of agility, and coordination. But they really wanted to get into it, so you say, all right, if that's your choice, I'll support you. And they do a flip, and then now they paralyzed for the rest of their life. It's not wrong that you supported them, but you might regret this decision. Like, man, I wish I'd have just took away they choice.
Did I know
That
that
don't
was
make
gonna
you
happen?
wouldn't.
Did
No,
I
you
know
didn't
that?
know what you
Did
wouldn't have
God know
actually
that?
known.
Did God know what was gonna happen with men?
No, absolutely. And this is the hard part about being God.
But
If
wait,
you
if he knew
But
that was gonna happen, why would he regret something he already knew was gonna happen?
if you're God, see, I would never want to be God. If you're God, you know every evil that every person is doing, and yet you're still chose to make them just so they have the actual ability of their own choice of taking their own path. That's the hard part. Like, imagine if you say you want to have kids, and in order for you to have 4 kids and 3 of them turn out to be great, one is going to be bad. Uh, You have to have all 4. Like, the scenario to have a certain scenario where all of these people is going to choose their own path, and 3 is going to choose to be righteous. You're going to have all 4. Are you going to not have none and just have slaves, or are you going to have all 4 and allow them to make their own path, and just you're still going to cheer for the 3 that actually be righteous?
But that will put me up there with God to be able to know the evils that they doing, and so on and so forth. And
But
if I don't, then that's not up for me to answer.
no, and that's my entire point. We're not God. Essentially, we're judging God. Like, why would you make us know we're going to do something evil? I mean, I'm giving you the basic aspect of we have free will. He wanted us to be able to have the freedom of choice.
But I'm
And
saying
that's the
like
hard part. There's
if
consequences
I
to
knew you was
choices.
finna rob a bank, why would I cry about you robbing a bank? Like you doing what I knew you was finna do. Like I made you. Like I knew you was finna do this.
Would you want me to go to jail before I do it?
That's me. That's we talking about God though.
It's, just- it's,
It's two
it's
different
again,
people.
there's consequences to having free choice.
Who gave us a free choice though?
God, I mean, that's the
All right,
consequence
but when did he give us a free choice?
when we was created. I mean, let me give you an example. If God, I mean, in regular terms,
Was free choice here before Eve bit that apple?
I mean, when he created us with that. So when he created Adam, is when he created us that way.
No, but was it? So are you saying it was there before Eve bit the apple?
Yeah,
So why
free
did the Bible
choice.
say? So why did the Bible say that once she bit the apple, her eyes were open and woo woo woo
And what was it open to?
to
Knowing
knowledge
good and evil.
and
Yeah, the knowledge of good and evil.
And
That's a
good and
moral
evil.
thing.
And what else is good and evil?
No,
Right versus wrong.
sin. Like I said, it's not wrong. It's not wrong for you to take your money and buy some expensive clothes. It's not wrong.
We're talking about right versus wrong.
No,
Go
what I'm
ahead.
saying is it might be bad business sense, but that's not wrong. That's not a sin. But it's definitely wrong for you to steal your neighbor's money and buy some clothes. That's what I'm saying. There's a difference between a bad choice of business and an actual right and wrong. So that's what I'm saying. We can't confuse morals with choices. They gain the ability of moral, knowing good and evil.
Go ahead.
Okay, I'm gonna give a quick little recap, right quick. Just and then I want y'all to keep going, but I want y'all to let me know if we're narrowing in on a debate topic. All right, so we started off talking about miracles, and that led to the talk about the birth of Christ. All right, and then the brother from Philly mentioned appointed day of death. All right, that we all got an appointed day of death. All right. Was there people here before Adam and Eve? All right. Does life have purpose? Why does God need us? And are we useless? And then also we got the Adam and Eve knowledge versus logic. I mean, knowledge and logic. Did the knowledge come from Satan or did it come from God? So y'all working on. I mean, y'all working it. Y'all got some stuff here.
Hold on, I got another question though. As far as like the Noah's Ark thing, did he get every animal in the world or just the animals in a specific region?
No, it's people misread it. It's two of every kind, so not two of every species. Totally two different things. A human is a kind. A
Mhm.
dog is a kind. A dog, different species of dogs is you got a Chihuahua, Great Dane, you got a wolf. Those are all the same kind.
All right. So what
So
kind of bird is a penguin?
all birds are birds. So
All birds aren't the same.
no, they're not the same. But from adaptation, we got variations. Like we're dark skinned. You got people light skinned. You got Asian people, but we're all the same species. We're all the same kind. We're different
How,
races, but different. That's one kind, humankind.
but
So we
how
can look
how
all
long
types of different ways.
how long have penguins been here as a species?
Oh, I actually I wouldn't know that. I would have to look that up. A penguin is something specific.
Penguins been here way longer than that book though.
How long has it?
And before Noah's Ark, they've been here for some time.
Let's use the logic. Go ahead. You said
Hey,
penguins been home
My
longer than
my
the book.
question though is, did the penguins swim from Antarctica to Africa, get up, walk through Africa, and then get on the
No.
boat? Like how did
Let's let's use your logic. You said the penguins been here for how long? How long do you think?
couple 100,000 years?
And how would you possibly know that? Were you there a couple 100,000 years ago to see if they were there?
Were you there when Noah wrote the book?
No. We're talking about your logic. You came up with how would you verify that they've been there a couple 100,000 years ago?
What
How would we possibly know that?
it say 60 million years, but I mean, DNA
how, how,
testing
how, so a DNA test can't even tell if you're black and I'm white.
it
We
can.
can't. No, I mean as far as something from a couple 100 million years ago. How would we know what happened a couple 100 million years ago?
Well, how would you know what happened a couple thousand years ago?
Well, I'm asking you on your logic. How would you come to those conclusions that you came to? I'm going by something that
Like
was
evolution?
documented. Yeah,
You think you
based
going
off of
by
what you
something that's
said.
documented?
Right.
You ever heard of the word pseudepigrapher?
Nah, I don't recall.
Okay.
What is it?
Pseudepigrapher is a word that was created because none of the Bible scriptures and books was written by the people that it said was written by.
You sure about that?
Positive.
The Book of John, the author claims who he is. We get. We can
What's
go.
his name?
There's one of the apostles that was sitting there at the. So I just got off work, so I'm not even at my computer. I'm still sitting in my van. But
Yeah.
one of the apostles that was sitting at the Last Supper, like
Mhm.
you have writers who claim to be the authors of those books. But even if it wasn't, you think that discounts whether it's credible or not?
Yeah.
So if you wrote me a letter and you told me your factual name, birth certificate, birth date, social security number, and information on what you want to happen as far as your will, and you don't sign it, and I tell somebody you wrote it, and they say, well, he didn't sign it, so it's false. And that might be true in their eyes, but in reality, would that be false if you
Would
actually
this
wrote it?
would that hold up in court?
No, we're talking about. I'm not talking about legalistic. I'm talking about truth. Would it actually be false just because I didn't get it notarized by you?
These people never existed though.
No. I'm just saying the fact that you didn't sign it and we get it notarized, does that actually make it false that you didn't write it?
Yeah, make it false because I didn't write it.
I'm saying if you actually wrote something but didn't get it notarized, that don't make it false because you didn't notarize it.
But did these people write it though?
Yeah, where's the source to say that they didn't write it?
Who wrote
Where,
the first? Who wrote the Pentateuch? Who wrote the Torah?
Moses wrote most of the Old Testament. I mean, again, I would have to. I'm not at my computer, so I would have to Google every book. It's like what is it, 40 books or something like that in the Bible?
66.
6. Yeah.
60, yeah, 40 authors, 66 books.
So Moses wrote the Torah or the Septuagint, or the Pentateuch. But then you got a guy named Dorotheus of Sidon, and he wrote the Pentateuch.
This is the advantage of we got all these different authors. If there was something illogical, like if you wrote something, I wrote something, we in two different pages and we never met each other, and we writing about the same topic and we both claiming that we're factual, like something, let's say something mythical that happened, there would be contradictions in both of our stories because we never even conversated with each other about it. So if there's a bunch of contradictions in the Bible, that would just make it easy to say, hey, dude, obviously all these different authors, somebody made this up. That's the easy thing to do. I can do that with the Quran. But with the Bible,
Why you
we
can't do
got
it with the Bible?
where's the contradiction that you have an issue with?
All right, we'll start from the cover.
What's up?
We'll start from the cover. The cover
All
on the
right.
front cover it say Holy Bible. The word holy means whole or complete, and then Bible means book. How many books is missing in the Bible?
So in order for something to be missing, that means you know what's supposed to be there. What was supposed to be there?
There's an Ethiopian Bible, right?
Yep. And they include the book of Enoch. And it's not included in the regular Bibles for a reason. But go ahead.
But why isn't it?
Because it has blatant contradictions. I actually studied the book of Enoch. They get basic stuff in Genesis wrong. I'll give you a basic example. If I say, let's say you're whatever your age is, you don't need to say it. But if I say your age is actually 78 years old and you had kids at the age of 50, right now we know that's false. So anybody would discredit what I'm saying based off of something basic. So they get timelines wrong, basic stuff wrong. I've
But
actually
the Bible
read
got
it.
timelines wrong too.
Like
Because
what?
some people say that Jesus wrote the stone over after a day. Then somebody said no, it was 2 days. So that's in the Bible that you have now.
Have you seen the movie Vantage Point?
Nah, but what that got to do with
No,
like God saying one thing and another
no,
apostle saying something else?
I'm not changing the subject. I'm saying it as an example. So Vantage Point is different perspectives. If me and you both describe something, we're going to describe it slightly different because we have slightly different personalities.
So
But
if
it
you
shouldn't
say I
contradict.
went up there and that stone was moved in 1 day, and then I go up there and say nah, it was 2 days. Like a
No,
difference between 1 day and 2 days is a lot.
it
Like we
is.
can the
So
sun going up twice. That's separate from the sun going up once.
if it described it that way, that's a contradiction. But if you say 2 days and then I say on this day of the week, neither one of those, we just said it the same thing differently. If you said Thursday and I said 2 days after Tuesday, we both said two actual different things, but we meant the same thing.
That's
So
not how it was
you would have to,
described though.
no, so you show me the actual contradiction of what you're referring to, and we'll see if it's a contradiction.
I'm gonna show you that. I'm definitely gonna show you that. Another one I want to get to though is when they talk about Jesus dying and rising in 3 days, but from Friday to Sunday is how many days?
So you got to go by the Jews. So the Jews is the one that wrote this book. The first day, the day for them starts. You got the evening, then the morning. The first day, first of all, it was on the Sabbath. I got the timeline written at home. So
And
he was
what's the Sabbath? Is
Saturday.
that Saturday? Okay,
It starts Friday night actually.
Friday night. And so what? Jesus rose on what? 3 days. So what's 3 days from Friday night? Is that Monday?
No, how you get Monday?
Well, count from Friday. Do you count the day that you own?
What's that?
Do you if it's Friday night? Do you start from Friday night, or do you go Saturday, Sunday, which is 2, and then Monday, which is 3, or do you go Friday 2, Saturday, and Sunday? How do you count it?
No, again, I had this written down. I should know this from me being a Christian because I studied this a couple of times. I'm trying to because I don't want to misquote the scriptures. I know there was a specific day the way it was the way it adds up to 3 days and 3 nights. Sunday, he was already risen on Sunday morning, which is the 3rd day. So could have been Thursday night when he was crucified.
So
Again,
but
I would have to look.
why do we have a good Friday and not a good Thursday night?
Friday would have been the first night.
So Friday would have been the first
No,
night.
but see, you also got the Sabbath, and then there was a holiday time because they didn't take him off the cross. They didn't deal with it on Friday because it was a Sabbath or something like that.
But okay, if these people are worshiping a Sabbath aligns with Jesus Christ, right?
They shouldn't have been worshiping the Sabbath. It's just a day for us to rest.
But
What was
okay,
your
so
question?
these people was upholding the Sabbath. Was that prior to Jesus being around or after?
Yeah, prior to Jesus. The Sabbath come from Genesis.
Okay, so Friday night is the first night, is what you're saying. Then they go Saturday night, and then they go Sunday morning.
Yeah, again, I would have to look at it. It might have been Thursday on the day of a crucifixion.
But that's still not 3 complete nights. He would have to rise on Monday morning or Sunday night.
No, this is what I said. I would have to look at the actual timeline. I don't want to butcher it. Like this one. So it'll be a couple of things that we'll bring to the next table where I'll actually be at my computer and I'll give you the actual scriptures, timelines, and where it makes sense. So this one I'll have to get back to you on the actual order of events.
All right. Well, as far as like covenants go, right? Do you remember the first covenant?
Yeah, the one he gave with Israel.
Now, so
David.
as far as that go, what you think happened? Like what's your memory of it?
Well, it's simple. When God gave them the 10 commandments, don't covet your neighbor's wife, don't commit adultery. They broke them all.
So when he
No
gave
graven image.
when he made a promise to Jacob or Israel, how did that come about?
As far as what?
When
The original promise was to Abraham before Israel existed. That's the original promise. So Israel didn't even exist when the first promise was given. That covenant never got broken. Then Israel came and he made a covenant with Israel specifically.
and why did he do that?
Why not? He chose a group of people to show his blessings.
So, but as I recall it, I thought Jacob had beat God up and told God to bless him, and God did.
Yeah, Jacob beat God up. That's why he left crippled.
So, but my question is, why would I pray to somebody I can beat up?
Show me where Jacob beat God up. Because
What is
if I'm not
Israel?
mistaken,
What does Israel mean? What does Israel mean?
to wrestle with God.
To wrestle with God and prevail.
He prevailed. How did he prevail? Because he was still alive. No. He prevailed because he didn't die.
Well, when you read the what's the name, it said that
Read
he
it.
wrestled and he won.
He read it. He won by. Let me give an example. You go to court, right?
If I beat you up and I tell you
Listen.
to
I'm
give
not.
me a blessing, you're not going. And if you give me a blessing, somebody's a clear winner. You've never. God got robbed that night.
No, I'm not. Listen, I'm not even denying what you're saying. Let's use some logic here. If you go to court and the judge say, "I'm gonna give you 50 years in jail," like that's what you're up against. You're up against 50 years, life,
Mhm.
double life sentence. And you tell the judge, "Listen, I definitely sorry about my crime. I regretted it. And ever since the incident happened, I was going to turn myself in. They said, wait for your court date, and I've been living and doing homeless what do you call it, charity work ever since, and it's been 3 years consistently. I've been doing it every day. You got several people vouching for you, so they say, listen, we'll do away with this, but if you come back in any courtroom again, you're just going to get the max. But
That's not how that played
since
out
you
though.
no no
Because
no I'm saying I'm going to a point. If you didn't get sentenced to your double life sentences and he say we're going to let you off, you're just going to do 5 years of probation, and you finish community service for your 5 years, you walk out and say you won. It's not wrong.
that's because that's no physical contact. You also have to add all that happened, and then I went up there and I smacked him, and then he said we're gonna let you off. You got to add that part. You got to add in why I grab him up or something like
So
that too. You can't
so
just
so
say
let's so when you read Jacob, y'all at the computer, pull it up. Let's read what happened.
All right, I got you. Jacob wrestles with God, right?
mhm.
Right.
All right.
That's
In
the
the
first
Bible,
time I heard this. Just this is the first time I heard somebody take that type of tone with it. So it's funny.
in the Bible, God, Jacob wrestles with God in Genesis 32:22 through 32. The story symbolizes the struggle of, well, they just talk about it. You want me to read this?
I
Yeah,
mean, actually read it. Actually read
go,
the scripture.
go to Genesis. All right, hold on. One
That way
second.
we don't misquote it.
You're right. Copy and paste right quick. Get right to it. All right. This ain't the KG. This ain't the KJV version.
All right.
All right. That night, Jacob got up and took his two wives, his two female servants, and his 11 sons and crossed the ford of the Jabbok. After he after he had set them across the stream, he sent over all his possessions. So Jacob was left alone, and a man wrestled with him till daybreak. Hold on, this ain't the right thing, is it?
Mhm.
It said a man.
No,
Yeah.
Um,
yeah, keep reading.
okay. A man wrestled with him until daybreak. When the man saw that he could not overpower him, he touched the socket of Jacob's hip, so that his hip was wrenched, and he wrestled with the man. Then the man said, "Let me go, for it is daybreak." But Jacob replied, "I will not let you go unless you bless me." The man asked him, "What is your name?" "Jacob," he answered. Then he said, "Your name will no longer be Jacob, but Israel, because you have struggled with God and with humans and have overcome." Jacob said, "Please tell me your name." But he replied, "Why do you ask my name?" Then he blessed him there. So Jacob called the place Peniel, saying, "It is because I saw God face to face, and yet my life was spared." The sun rose above him, and he passed Peniel, and he was limping because of his hip. Therefore, to this day, the Israelites do not eat the tendon attached to the socket of the hip, because the socket of the hip, Jacob hip, was touched near the tendon. And that's it.
That's,
That's the story.
So
so God got beat up, and then he blessed.
all right, but what did Jacob say? Why he prevailed? What did he say?
He wrestled with God, and God let him keep his life.
Right. So God is the
But
ultimate
that still don't
example
mean
of
he didn't
humble.
get beat up though.
No, look, if God is the ultimate, so if you got let's say your kids are swinging on you and you don't beat the piss out of them, you just let them wear themselves out,
That's not
and
the
then
same thing.
so
That's not as
how
good as
did
that.
his
Not this.
no
This
what
how it went. It's like it's
how
like
did his
it's like
hip get
me.
out?
Hold on, listen. It's like me beating up my homie that got a gun, and I beat him up, and he don't shoot me afterwards. That's how that went.
So
It ain't like
what bruises the guy
because
have?
God said let me go. I ain't never seen somebody that ain't need help say let me go. You ain't never seen somebody. You ever seen somebody in a fight that told somebody like let me go and didn't need help?
You never seen nobody hold back on somebody and say, dude, just let me go about my. I've seen this many times. A few people who they stop holding restraint and end up beating the piss out the guy. But I've seen plenty of people hold back, and then somebody tell them, dude, that guy was going to beat the piss out of you. I've seen it many times. You never seen nobody hold back in a fight?
So you telling me, but what happens
What
after that?
bruises the guy have?
Did that person give him some money after they beat him up though?
What you mean?
Like did that person bless them after they got like punched on or whatever?
I've seen a couple people do that. They end up helping the guy out. The guy was going through something.
So you seen somebody get punched on, and the guy that got punched on that could have beaten up the other guy up, give him some money.
I've seen people help people out after they had a little confrontation.
I don't know. I ain't never seen
Come on, man. You never seen brothers fight?
It's so good.
You never seen. Hold on. You never seen family fight, brothers fight. You never seen that.
it. That can get beat up though.
You never seen spouses fight.
You talking about?
I mean, we seen all. Come on, we all seen this happen. Where like, yo, wasn't y'all two just?
Nah, man. God was in there trying to grab a man nuts up because he couldn't get away.
So when so how hard was it for him to pop his rib out?
you know how, you know how bad you gotta lose a fight to grab a man nuts,
Yep.
bro. You got
Yep.
No, watch this. So how hard was it? How hard was it for
you
him?
gotta lose to grab somebody nuts, though.
How hard was it for him to pop his rib out his hip? How hard was that?
How hard would it be to grab a man nuts when you lose?
Yep. Hey, yep. We are hour in. Y'all been doing pretty good, man. It's pretty
Nah,
good.
go ahead, though.
But okay, because we
Yeah, I'm big in these.
we
I did
are-
have a question about going
Yeah.
back to the Noah's Ark shit though, if I can.
yeah. I'm gonna let you get your question in, Sean. I want to announce we're gonna answer these other questions too. That the chat been putting out too. So yeah, go ahead, Sean. My bad.
Yeah, going back to the Noah's Ark shit. I was watching a documentary one day though. They said that like once all the water had like went down and depleted and everything, like it would have been like air would have been literally poison though, man. So like how was anything able to survive after all that shit was done and over with?
And what proof do they got for that?
Wait, can I ask you a question though? So, is Bible verses about how women in Israel had to eat their kids to survive, but the animals on the boat was able to survive 4 days and 40 nights without eating nobody?
You got two questions about Noah.
All right. So the first question was you said you saw a documentary and it said all the water would have turned to poison.
I mean, no, like once all the water, like once this was done raining for 4 days and 40 nights, and all the water was gone, all the shit was gone. It was just land again. The air would have it would really been poisonous to even breathe any of that air in.
Now,
So
how
I
would
was,
they possibly be able to prove what the environment was like before the
I
flood?
mean, they
Because we can
basically
replicate
running
that.
tests with leaving water there for a long time and then letting the shit run out and then
How high do they think the water
testing
has
the
to
air.
get? I mean, yeah, I
I mean,
get
for
it goes
40
above
days
the
and 40
mountains,
nights,
but
bro, if it covered the entire earth and then it's all land again.
why would it become poison? I'm still failing to see that logic.
I see what he trying to say. It'd be like remember Katrina?
Basically,
No, that's
Katrina. You know how it just really stunk
no.
in New Orleans for a long time?
Yeah, but again, you're talking about buildings and stuff that we got where we got wasted all these. This is way back then, early on,
I'm not
before
talking about
the
that. I'm
land got
talking about
polluted.
like if it went over all the trees, all the mountains, all the everything. I'm pretty sure it
And
was
what
trees back then, right?
the earth don't heal itself?
It
I
do,
mean,
but
even
I'm just
now.
saying if all them animals was there just breathing in all that toxic ass air, and how are they able to survive? How are we here now, damn it?
It's a miracle. I mean, you guys make it like we're saying like we're talking about the Noah's flood is a natural event. For something supernatural to happen, something is supernatural. The whole thing is a supernatural event. That's not like it's a normal event. Like we can see a flood that's going to happen.
So, but
Obviously, God would have to intervene, and He's intervening in that whole aspect.
what's the meaning of the rainbow though?
It's God's promise. It's His covenant He
Promise.
made that He won't flood the earth again.
Has the earth ever been flooded again?
Not the entire earth.
They say we getting close.
Yeah, they also said that the earth was about to freeze over, and then now they talking about the earth is warming up. I don't believe the nonsense they be talking about. They also said the cows farting is polluting the earth and it's going to kill us off, and we need to stop eating meat.
They definitely said that. They did say the cows farting. That was the craziest shit. And let me.
I can go on and on. So it's they say a lot of nonsense because who's going to say the scientists is wrong, even though they've been wrong multiple times. They also said you need to hurry up and get that COVID vaccine before you die off.
Hey,
Yeah, all of them said that a few.
Hold up.
But now, hold on. But yeah, the 40 days and 40 nights, ain't no animals eat each other. But over a course of a few days, the Israelite women have to eat their kids and stuff like that.
Did they now?
Yeah. You want the
So they ain't had no food on the boat. They was too stupid to take food with them.
Nah, I'm talking about the Israelite women. This not on the boat no more. This outside the boat. They have to eat their own kids, but on the boat, the animals wasn't like they didn't eat each other.
Where did the Israelites had to eat their kids?
I'm finna pull it up.
That was an instruction by somebody. Who that instructed? Who said something like that?
Let me pull it up.
But I want to make sure that the other guy was my answer adequate, or was it not adequate about the?
I'm with you. I'm with you.
We got a few questions too. My bad.
Yeah. What was the chat saying?
Okay. It say crazy-ish. Dude say Lucifer was the serpent in the garden, but the serpent just ate of the fruit first, so it gained knowledge and could speak.
Show me where that's at in the Bible, where the serpent ate the fruit, and then all of a sudden he started talking.
Well, this is James. Shout out to James Stewart. Then he said, P.S. God has no jurisdictions on the earth plane. If he comes here, he may not be able to go back to heaven. No falling is allowed back to heaven. The fear of free will allowed slavery. I think these are just statements.
Yeah. You can put them right in the toilet where they belong.
Jeremiah 19 verse 9.
Read it. What does it say?
It say, I will make them eat the flesh of their sons and daughters, and they will eat one another's flesh, because their enemies will press the seed so hard against them to destroy them.
All right. And what's the context of it?
It say, I will devastate this city and make it an object of horror and scorn, as who pass will be appalled, and will scoff because of its wounds.
Yeah, but what's the context of what he's saying? Like, did you read the whole thing, or you just want me to address that verse with no context of? Because Jesus said, because Jesus says that, he says a lot of things, and there's a metaphor, and some people just take it literal and don't want to actually apply the metaphor of it. When Jesus say, "I am the light of this world," he's not talking about he's a sunlight or a light bulb. We got to put some logic to it to make sure that we're reading it in context. So the context of that, you will have to actually read it and then tell me what your issue is with it.
I'm saying, why would he make them eat their kids and stuff though?
That's what I'm saying. Is the context that they're going to actually start eating their kids? Cooking them in a crock pot?
Yeah, they famine. They talking about famine and stuff like that.
That's the choices they going to make. That's going to be the results if they starving. So you're talking about Israel, right?
Yeah, but the animals was on a boat and they didn't have to eat each other. But these women and stuff, they gotta eat their own kids.
I'm sorry, y'all. Y'all gotta be careful talking about Israel, man, because the Israelites,
people,
the Hebrew Israelites be watching, man. They gonna
so look at that. If God literally intervenes with a group of people, walking them through the desert with miracles, where they walking across an ocean and it's split up. Well, the river. They miraculously seen God intervening with the plagues and all of that stuff for them to escape and go to the promised land. And he said, all you have to do is follow my directions and my instructions, and I'll be a guy, you'll be prosperous. And they start doing all types of abominations. God gave them consequences. Famine is one of them.
Nah, man.
How many
That don't
times
make
did
sense
they?
though. If I this what I'm saying
So
though.
you trying to tell
If
me
you
you would
was
never punish your children for disobeying you?
I wouldn't let my kids wander around no desert for 40 years.
All right, so let me get
Lord,
this straight. If your kid set up a crack house in your house and start shooting porn video, I'm trying to be sensitive on this channel. They start shooting the OnlyFans extreme videos with extremely underage children. You trying to tell me you wouldn't kick them out, or you just gonna let that rock?
he sent them to go somewhere to a promised land. I wouldn't.
No, no, what?
That's like them doing that in my house, and I'm telling them, yo, I'm still finna send y'all to this mansion though, but y'all finna be like lost.
No, no. So if you had them set up in one of your other houses, and they did that, and now you got you're about to go to jail for it. You trying to tell me you wouldn't kick them out?
God not finna
You
face no punishment for anything. Why? How come when you talk like when you put a human when you compare a human to a god, it's like extra stuff along with it to make it more like personified to a human. Why it can't be okay if God wouldn't do this, then like a human shouldn't be held to the same standard. Like why the standard got to be so long when it comes to a human?
all right? So I'll give you a perfect example. So if you punch me in the face, the only consequence is what I do to you. You punch a cop in the face. Do you think the consequence is going to be more severe?
The worst it can get is you'll die. Because I
But if
technically could do the same thing a cop could do. Would it be legal? Nah, but I could do all the same
no,
things. But
we're
could I
talking
do
about
all
the.
the same things God could do in theory? Nah. So that's still a human. That's still a human thing versus what a guy can do.
All right, let me do it differently. You still, for me, the consequence might be, all right, I'm burnt. You still from a cop might be a little bit more consequences. You still from the IRS, it's going to be some grave consequences. The level
But
of authority.
overall as humans though, there's only so much we can do, and technically, I can do all the same things they can do. I can do
No, what?
if I can. People get kidnapped and held in under people's basements and all that type of stuff for years. Like that's the same thing as going to jail. I can do all that same thing to you if you did
What
for
I'm
me.
saying is, what I'm
But what
saying
about
is,
what? I can't
the
banish you from
people.
existence like God can do or something like that.
No, this is my point. The person who's in authority, they're able to implement greater punishment to you.
Yeah,
God is
legally,
the.
but that doesn't mean that I can't do the same thing as a human though.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is who has the right to do it. So God has the ultimate authority, so he has the ultimate ability to give the ultimate punishment.
That's not the
That's
same
just
thing.
that's the logic. The logic follows. The person you offend, their level of authority that they have is the legal right that they have over you to implement the justice.
But as a human, can I do all the same thing as a cop can do?
No, because you don't have that authority.
But okay, what yo, can I still
For
hold somebody captive though? Can I still put cuffs on you and hold you in my basement or something? It wouldn't be
illegally.
legal, but I still could do it though.
Yeah, again,
Now the
you
only
would
thing that
have.
separates me from a cop is legality. But
That's what
without
we
that,
talking
that
about,
still doesn't.
morals.
But that still doesn't separate the fact that we're still humans though. Like I can't do what a guy can do. I can't
We're talking
grab you
morals, though.
and make you disappear and then hold you up 1 trillion feet in the air and then like drop. I can't do a whole bunch of like magical stuff. But I can
No,
do
but
everything a
which,
cop can do.
yeah, but what you asked was what, like why would God do something like that? God has the actual authority. We're talking about what's morally right. If God has the authority, then he has the right. It's only going to be one. There's only one judge in the court case,
No, no.
and it ain't
What
the
I'm asking
defendant.
about is God's abilities, though. Like, cause everything it seems like God able to do is only up to a certain aspect of what a human can understand or what a human can do for each other. Like, I ain't never
What you
seen
mean?
God like you can't close your eyes right now and be in Africa. Like when you open your eyes back up, God ain't never did
I
nothing miraculous like that.
no. So you trying to tell me a person never woke up and spoke a different language that he never spoke before? That never happened.
Never. You ain't you not gonna start speaking Chinese in 5 seconds.
You can
Say something in Chinese.
no. Listen. I'll show you the articles. Like
No.
and I'm talking
I
about
want you to say something in Chinese though.
Konnichiwa. That doesn't mean that I know how to speak Chinese. That, that's
I'm
an
talking
actual
about
mushi mushi. That's actually Chinese. That
No, I'm
don't mean I
talking
can
about
speak.
everything you finna say all of it in Chinese, like how you finna claim that. No, like something real though. Like close your
If
eyes
I,
and open your eyes and be in Africa. Like
you know what the problem is? If I actually do that, people would just say I was already bilingual. That wouldn't prove nothing. They would just say I'm already bilingual. It
I would then
wouldn't prove anything.
do something bigger than that. Then like close your eyes and open your eyes and be in Africa.
So if I close my eyes in the car and it just disappeared, somebody would say it was a camera trick. It doesn't matter what I do. People is going to rationalize it. It literally doesn't matter. We're talking about a person literally woke up and spoke a totally different language in a different accent that they never did. We're talking about a kid, not no. I'm not talking about a Christian thing either. There's people who spontaneously combusted and caught on fire, and they were just sitting in their chair and died. I'm talking scientific things that happen that nobody can explain. A person skydiving and landing on the ground and walking away is ridiculous, but it
But that's
happened.
still,
These are
but that's still in a realm of possibility. It ain't like he didn't hit the floor at all. He just like did like this and landed on his feet, and everybody like, whoa, like nah, like he smacked the ground for real. Like show me something like that. Like I want to see something real, like with nothing
and
extra.
you trying to tell me, and surviving that is logical.
How you know how many people survive crashes all the time? So it's like it's in the
Skydiving,
realm of possibility. It happens all. It happens a
skydive.
lot.
See, that's my point. You'll rationalize anything that's miraculous.
A miracle means
Yeah.
to wonder, and once
Yeah.
we know how it happened, it's no longer a miracle.
Is that right?
Is God human?
Nah, God is God. That's a different level.
What is God? It can't be explained. It can't be described.
God is God. God is his own thing. He's that level that every aspect of much above the realm of our logic.
But why it's always
He,
logical though?
it ain't logic. I didn't say. I'm saying it's beyond our logic. It's beyond the logic of what we can think about. We can't. We personally cannot think about knowing every aspect of everybody else's thoughts and not going crazy. I wouldn't even want to know everybody's thoughts.
All right, do we know for sure God can do that? And if so, show me.
I can't. I would never be able to prove God to you.
That's what I'm saying. Can you call him?
See, that's what I'm saying. I think you can prove as a God
No, proof is beyond a shadow of a doubt. I can't prove it.
without a shadow of a doubt. Without a shadow of a doubt,
Can you call him though?
you could prove as a God.
Can you call him?
I mean, I can. He intervened in my life. I'm still alive. I should be dead multiple times.
I can't prove as a God.
No, I mean, who would believe it? I mean, I didn't got shot at, and the bullet didn't hit me.
That happens a
Stop
lot.
right
Though.
at the glass. Stop right at the glass. It wasn't even a bulletproof glass.
But can I ask you what type of bullet it was? Because that'll separate a lot.
Dude, I ain't stay there to examine it. They shoot. I was getting out of it.
Hey man, you have to try, man. Shout out to the chat, man. They did that.
I want to see like some real. I guess people say miracles. They be talking about like magic stuff. Like why nothing? Somebody survived and get swallowed up by a whale. That's not miraculous because like whales can't even swallow an orange or a golf ball. So it's like he wasn't gonna get swallowed anyway. Like show me something. Like show me he's getting getting swallowed by a shark. Him surviving that stomach acid. Show me something like that. Then I'm like, whoa, but like something that's already impossible anyway. That's not miraculous. Like he couldn't. It wouldn't happen anyway.
So what's the logic of a person resurrecting 3 days later and then people believe in it?
It never happened.
So why would these people say that it happened? What did they gain?
Financial gain, money, profit.
Which one? They all got beheaded.
Every time
the eyewitnesses were no, we're not talking about today. We're talking about the eyewitnesses. We're not talking about these crooks today. We're talking about people who said they saw it and they got their head cut off. What did they gain?
So the people that say that they saw it and got their head cut off, right?
Yeah,
the like Romans. Somebody saying, "Yo, we killed this guy that we made up, right?" And the people that saw us do it, we killed them. So if you ask us anything about it, you ask us anything about it.
Let's stick with your logic. Who was doing the beheading?
Yo, who was the one? Church. That's the worst part. The Roman Catholic Church.
The Roman Catholic Church didn't exist back then.
At what point in time they started existing? The Romans killed Jesus, though, right?
The Romans killed them.
So the
How's it not a Roman Catholic church? The church has run. The church was the government.
At what point in time?
second century.
You said what?
Second century. It was ran by two banks. The Roman Catholic Church was started by two banks.
What's the name of the banks?
Macedonia or something like that. But
Go ahead, and
some
what year
Jews.
B and what year AD this happened?
Second century.
No, like give me an approx. Like
I'm saying ever since it was a word priest,
Mhm.
the church has been the government.
the priest existed. The priest existed before Rome even existed.
Yes. I'm saying that's how long church has been governed. That was my statement. Church is government. That's it.
They wasn't called. I mean, it really wasn't called church back then. But
Right.
the people that killed the eyewitnesses, they was against the actual first church. They was against the church. They wasn't trying to help it.
You right.
But Jesus didn't die until he said, "Give Caesar back what's his." Once he started messing with the money, that's when they killed him. Am I lying?
So you said what you're saying is they wasn't trying to kill him before that. Is that what you're telling me?
I don't think so. Because
Then you need to reread the Gospels.
It's a
They were trying to kill him from the get go.
It's the difference between trying and doing.
And when did they actually? What did they
Chief,
crucify him for?
Chief, it's hard to catch a magician, man. You know, Jesus was doing all type. Come on, man. It's hard.
Yeah, magic with Solomon and stuff like that. The three magicians, the three magi that went to go see him.
Go ahead. Show me anywhere in the Bible where there was three magi or three magicians or three anybody. Show me where there was three people.
Guys?
Show me that. I don't recall reading about three wise men.
Am I tripping?
I think so.
And I kind of believe Jesus and Satan got to be the same person, because Lucifer means to be enlightened, or the enlightened one. And if Jesus is the light, like, you know.
All right. So if I say I'm enlightened, that make me Jesus?
Jesus is the title, just like Lucifer is the title.
All right. So you saying only one person ever has a title?
Can I interrupt right quick? The story of the three wise men, or magi, in the Bible recounts they followed a star to visit the newborn Jesus in Bethlehem, bringing gifts of frankincense and myrrh.
Read it and show me where it says there were three wise men.
So I just read.
I know what other people say. You know, you read a summary of what somebody else said, but show me actually in the scripture where it said there were three wise men.
It just say the Bible recounts. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, that's what you go up. What's the scripture? And show me where it says three wise men.
Matthew 2:11.
Read it.
They went into the house and saw the child with Mary, his mother, and they fell down and worshiped him.
Well, yeah, but how many wise men it says it was in Matthew chapter 2?
The Magi were wise men from the east, likely Persia or modern day Iran. I don't know, bro.
People just say stuff and then they just keep going on with it.
Well, that's good. How you feel about like translation and transliteration?
Yeah.
Like things being changed from one, like when you translate it, it loses its essence.
Not necessarily.
Yeah, because right now, if I say, like, I'm a genuine nigga, right? And then if you say it in Spanish, you're not going to use the word nigga, you're going to say something else. But that's not the same thing, though.
It's not saying the same thing, but I would know what you mean. I bet you if somebody said if somebody said you was a genuine Negro, you would know exactly what they meant.
Hey, big bro, let's say wise men from the east came to Jerusalem.
If somebody, yeah, how many?
It don't say how many.
Exactly, that was my point. So,
I ain't tripping on the amount of. Well, wise men from the east follow the story.
All right, but it didn't say how many. Y'all just throw that three out there and say it was stolen.
I didn't say three. I just said man.
What you mean when you say it was stolen?
If somebody said that if somebody owed you $100 and they didn't speak English, you trying to tell me there's no way you can translate it where they knew you owed them there's $100 that's an issue. There's no other word in any other language for $100. That's what you trying to tell me?
Translating versus understanding is two separate things, though.
Me and you don't even need to say the exact same words to actually understand each other.
But we'll lose essence of what we're saying, though.
All right, so in this conversation that we had, what didn't we understand about each other?
We speak the same language.
But we didn't say the same words and we using different terms. But I think we understood each other's thoughts quite clear.
As far as what?
Getting this conversation back and forth. You know, you ask a question and I answer. I think we understood each other quite clear, even though we speak
Yeah,
two
but like
different.
if we translated this in like Spanish, right, and then they translated it in Latin, it'll be something different.
The words would be different, but the meaning. You saying the meaning's not going to be there?
Nah,
If you
because
try to tell me if somebody said there's two boys sitting in a black car, you trying to tell me it's going to lose its meaning? Two boys sitting in a black car is going to lose its meaning by translating it to a different language?
yeah,
I don't think so.
because words will be added or words will be taken away.
You trying to tell me there's no way for somebody to understand that there's two boys in a black car in a different language without killing the meaning? That's crazy.
Yeah, I mean over a while of like translating for sure, and we especially if we translate into over multiple languages for sure.
No, if I say you owe me a trace or you owe me a deuce, you understand what that is. I don't care what language you say, what we say it in, sign language. We all gonna know what you owe me a deuce is.
Oh man, I'm talking about like I and being you telling the story and like yo, it was this tall guy. He wasn't fat. He was kind of like he was a little bit big. He was kind of chubby or whatever. Woo woo woo. He came from so and so and so and so. Once you start translating that so much, he gonna go from being it's like playing telephone. He can go from being a tall guy that's kind of like he a little bit out of shape to he tall and fat. He tall, fat, and musty. Like it's going like things gonna
The
add up
problem
over
with
time.
I listen. I get what you're saying as far as certain words don't even translate well. Certain letters don't translate. Spanish they got feminine, masculine. You know, English is the bastard language.
Hmm.
The
Like for
thing about
example,
it is,
the Greek word for demon just means anybody that's not specifically God. But over time, when it got translated, it started to mean like anything like that's evil. But that's not the
no.
same thing. Like in the Greek version, in Septuagint, a demon ain't the same thing as what we call a demon now.
So
So now
I
me and you
listen.
would say something about a demon, and back then it'd be like, what is he talking about?
So I'll even give you that. Let's just say the English is a bastard language and the translation is garbage. If I really cared that much, I'll learn Hebrew and Greek. We still got the original manuscripts. If somebody really deep down want to figure out what the issue is, all they gotta do is just learn the original language, Hebrew and Greek.
But why don't we
What's
like why isn't that like pushed on people? Like for
I
example,
ain't uh,
the word
I
the
ain't got the
word
time.
Satan the word Satan is just a title that means anybody that opposes what's being said. That's anybody. So if anybody walk in here and be like, I don't really agree with that, that person at that time will be Satan. It's just a title. And
Right?
that's the Greek meaning. So but now we have it as a complete person. That's
Yeah,
kind
and
of like
just about audio prophets' names was all a meaning. It meant something. Adam, from Adam, Noah, Abraham, Israel, all of their names actually meant something. I agree. You wouldn't understand that from the English, but if you, the original transcripts are still there, the original language is still there. If you want to learn it, just go read the Septuagint in Hebrew and Greek. We still can. It's a different if we didn't have the old stuff. Then you can say, yeah, it's lost. It's lost in translation, but we still got the old one. I'm just not about to sit there and learn Hebrew and Greek. I'll read the translations and figure out the actual word for word meanings, but I ain't got that kind of time.
but
So
why
if
wouldn't you
some
though? Wouldn't it make sense to do that though? To get a complete understanding? Because like for example, do you call God Yahweh or God?
no, I speak English, so
So you don't do
I
that
just
shit.
say,
Okay.
yeah. I
You
mean,
say God.
God is not limited to one language.
But
That's what the
God just
Hebrew Israelites like to do.
the word God just means to call. So that literally could be anybody. You could be talking about anybody when you say God. When you say God. But Yahweh is a specific name though.
Agreed. If I was describing you personally, and you had the same name as somebody else,
Hmm?
and I said I'm talking about such and such, and with your description, nobody can get confused, no matter how many people got the generic title.
Right. But
Same
there
with God.
but there is though because Yahweh started off as a storm god, just like Baal, or however he said, was just a storm god too. Like the word Lord comes from the word Baal or Baal, how would you say the name? So when you see the word Lord inside the Bible, that's not talking about that guy. That's talking about the Canaanite god
No,
Baal.
yeah, a lord is a position. I mean, we could
No,
be
no, Lord,
lords.
Lord is that specific God. That was his specific name.
Yeah, and we're saying it's still a title though. That's not somebody specific.
He's
But
saying that it is. He's saying that it is.
You know what I'm
That's what
saying? It
he,
is specific.
that's his argument.
so you're saying nobody else got more than one? Nobody else uses nobody else's name?
Well, how many people you know name is Yahweh?
No, I wasn't talking about Yahweh. I was talking about Lord.
No, yeah,
No, yeah,
definitely.
yeah. Yahweh, Jehovah.
But the reason
That's
why that
specific.
came out is because the Israelites won the war between the Canaanites, and this is outside the Bible. This is like real life factual stuff. And from that, they took that their God's name. Like when you win a war, you demonize that the God before, and you take whatever you like from it.
But it's not like I mean, and what's your issue with that, or what should be my issue with it?
Your God
I'm
is
just taking it at
comprised of
face value.
a lot of other people's gods and stuff like that.
It does what now?
Your God is comprised of a lot of other people's gods, so you don't really know who you're calling when you're saying these names.
So, so, so Jesus and Elohim. You're trying to tell me all the other guys said they got a son
Yeah.
born of a virgin?
It's a lot of gods saying they got sons.
No, I'm going with the point for a
Yeah,
reason.
for sure.
And where's these sources dated at?
Well, I mean, outside of Egypt, you got the Sumerian gods saying the same thing.
Yeah.
Who else? Persians, so on and so forth. Like it's a lot of other people that same
If,
exact story beforehand.
if you read a lot of those stories, they don't line up the way the Bible described it, where it's God that's coming to intervene and being born of a virgin. I read a lot of those stories that were supposed to be similar. What was that stupid movie? I can't. It's one of them stupid movies that they was acting like they was exposing Christianity. Zeitgeist. That stupid movie. They
I ain't
just
never
take a
watched
lot
it.
of generic. Yeah, they took a lot of generic stuff, like saying the God of Horus and all that stuff was similar. None of those stories I read was similar to the Bible.
A lot of it. Wow. So you're saying it didn't have any parallels as far as similarity? Because the stories were
Nah,
told in such same way.
Horus, the resurrection of Jesus and the description of Horus was nowhere near similar. Jesus said he had the power to resurrect himself 3 days, and he literally died and was resurrected. I don't see that in anywhere in the history of anybody similar to that story.
But what story came first though?
The Bible came first, historically.
Nah, it didn't come first.
With that, what other story is written that way, where it talks about a Messiah literally dying and then coming back from the actual grave 3 days later?
The horror story not too far from it,
Hey,
but because the horror
yo,
story.
yo. That might be the one. Because you got to do a little research to get your sources up. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You get your
I
sources
did deep
up.
research on the horror story. It's nothing similar about it.
That's what I'm saying. You got one side of it, of the argument. He got the other side of the argument. He got to bring
All
his
he got to
source.
do is, all he would have to do is read it, and then he'll say, "Yeah, all right, yeah, you're right." Like that. That's not even a deep topic. You can just read the
But
story.
he's saying that there's many stories. So probably some that we ain't even think about right now. If he could go and do his research, take a day and do his research, come back with the information, that's
He
a
could,
debate.
but I tell him, don't waste your time down that rabbit hole. Get something a little bit more concrete that's closer to. So, what's a real contradiction or illogical aspect of the Bible? What's something that's fundamentally illogical about Christianity?
He talking to you.
And I think eating of the bread and as far as what's it called, that whole little thing, eating bread and drinking the wine and stuff like that.
Yeah, during the communion.
Yeah, now that coming from the word communion doesn't mean that. The word communion means to get drunk, eat, and have sex too. But in the church, you just eat and drink. Like the having sex part, that part skipped over.
And what do
Like
you?
the word commune means to get drunk, eat, and have sex. But you're not doing all that in church. You just drinking a little bit and eating.
So what are you saying? What's your issue?
So I'm saying
We
like
want to have. we should be having sex with it.
No, I'm saying why y'all not? Why isn't it being followed to the T? Like I like you know what I'm saying? If that's how they used to practice it, why y'all not practicing it that way now?
There was never practiced that way. Jesus gave the
What does the
example.
word communion mean?
Did Jesus say let's have communion, or did other people call it that?
Who was they doing at the table?
No, did Jesus call it that? That he's the one that implemented it. He said, "Do this in remembrance of my name." He didn't say let's have communion.
But being
He
Christian is to
described
be
what it was.
Christ-like,
We
though,
called
right?
that. Yeah, but what I'm saying is your emphasis on the word communion. He didn't call it that.
But they were copying what he was doing though, in memory
So,
of him.
and where does the word communion come into the story? Outside of Jesus. That came outside of Christianity.
He said,
Like
"Do
that is
this, and this in remembrance of me." So they're
right,
doing that,
and
and
that's
they
what we
give it a
do.
title.
Who gave it the title? Jesus or somebody else?
His followers.
He's focusing on the word communion. He's saying where
I
did the
know.
word communion come from?
That's what I'm asking him.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying.
I just told you what was happening at the table at the
You
Last
talking
Supper.
about the act.
Yeah,
you
like
want to know where the word comes from. It's semantics. It's a semantic type thing.
What I'm saying is, yeah, you're focusing on something that wasn't in the scriptures. The communion is not in the scripture.
They're upholding the act, and they gave it a name.
Are they upholding
Where did it? Who gave that name? Who gave it that name?
It's outside of the name. Why aren't y'all upholding the act though?
What? Eating bread and drinking wine?
And the having sex part too.
Where is that at in the Bible?
You've never ate with nobody and had somebody laying on your chest.
No, show me in the Bible where at Jesus at that Last Supper. Show me where sex was involved.
So who was laying on God's bosom, on Jesus' bosom?
His chest?
Yeah.
Nah, I don't recall.
Have you ever ate with somebody laying? Have you ever ate with another man laying on your chest?
Yeah, when he was sick.
What you say?
I said if they were sick.
You ain't never got drunk and ate bread with a bunch of men and like, yo, gather around and like somebody come lay on your chest.
Your analogies is like so unorthodox.
That's what happened. Was somebody not laying on Jesus' chest?
What's the issue?
Was they drinking wine? Was they getting drunk?
I don't see anywhere where they said he was getting drunk. So you trying to tell me you're a lightweight? You get drunk off of one little cup?
And they got nothing to do with me.
You faded off of one cup of wine. That's what you're telling me?
All right. What's the description? What was the description of Jesus? Was he not?
No,
was he not?
You telling me?
Was he not a
drinker?
You're faded off.
Was
Jesus not an avid drinker? Was Jesus not an avid drinker? Was he not musty? Was he not stink? Was he not ugly?
You're saying avid. I mean, he drunk?
How often? The Bible says he drunk a lot. He was a drinker. He was a drunk. He at the table getting drunk. Telling niggas come lay down. You've never got drunk and told niggas to come lay down.
Show me one scripture where it says he was drunk.
All right,
Ooh, it's Tavon Moore. Are y'all reading these? Because I don't want to interrupt the conversation, but are y'all reading these?
No, what they posted? Why he looking for that one?
Communion is a ritual symbolizing a sacrifice using blood. Further proving Yahweh is Satan. He want blood.
These be the hypocrites, though. I bet you if somebody how can I let me word it properly? If somebody miscommunicated with their children, they'd be wanting blood also.
It says Horus' mother, Isis, was a virgin.
Sure she was.
His birthday was December 25th, and he died 3 days. I mean, he died for 3 days.
It say Luke 7, verse 34. The Son of Man has come eating and drinking, and you say, look at him, a glutton and a drunkard. All
right. They said that's what they said. He said that's what they said. They accused him of being a drunkard. Guy. Right.
So he was a drunk.
And you trying to tell me these people was accurate in their accusations?
So all of a sudden we're not accurate no more. We eyewitnesses when he was dead, but when he getting drunk, we ain't see that.
No, read the context. What did he say? What was the point of him saying that? I know you can read the context. What's the rest of what he said? He also stated that they said he got a demon in him.
I got another question for you. I know Pastor, I appreciate you, but we
Oh,
appreciate you. We appreciate you, brother Philly. But I got another question, man. It says, ask him to explain virgin in a Bible context.
A young woman that wasn't that didn't have a flower dethroned.
Well, I'm pretty sure they're gonna fire back with. I think it just. Well, matter of fact, it says a virgin back then was a young girl.
yeah.
Yeah, no, this is why I said what I said. I mean, it was understood that a person that typically the virgins were young.
Now, when you said they said that Jesus had a spirit in him, right? It's called wine and spirits. And
All
back then,
right.
the word demon was synonymous with the word spirit. That's why we
Now,
talk
aren't
about
you?
translated and transliteration.
Aren't you?
Wine
I was about
and
to say, yeah.
spirit.
You the one brought up the translations. What did it use back then? What was the word? Because spirit is an English word.
Spirit, the word that he used back then would have been demon. It still would have been the same. What's the name? He was a drunk man. If you drink wine and
No,
spirits,
what was the word that it used for wine back then? Because they used a
oh, you have the
specific
word
word for
wine.
grape juice. Yeah, they used a specific word for fermented grape juice and unfermented grape juice. They use two different words. In English, it just says wine.
I don't know. They should say yayin or something like that.
Yeah, I mean, I won't be at my computer for like 20 minutes. I've been driving the past 40 minutes.
Yeah, well, you have been rolling, boy.
The whole time.
So what did I can't read it. What he said? No, they married what? Whoever posted that in the comment.
They married off the young. Yeah, no, they married off the young, off their girls young. It doesn't mean she was deflowered. It just meant she
No, it
was
don't.
young.
I was never arguing that they were deflowered. I said it typically means young women that wasn't it typically.
But this was the
So
point they're trying to.
when Jesus got when Mary got accused, I mean when Mary was pregnant, the first thing her husband suspected was she wasn't a virgin because he was about to put her away and divorce her. So he was under the impression that she was a virgin, obviously.
No, but virgin means unmarried though. There wasn't him, her, and what's the name
He
wasn't
was
married
gonna
yet.
She became pregnant and he was gonna divorce her because he expected her to be a virgin.
They weren't married yet.
Yeah, they were married.
Where it said they was married at?
Read it. How can you divorce somebody you're not married to?
They wasn't married yet.
Read it.
All right.
I got It said Jesus didn't come in a miraculous way, like they claim. If she wasn't if she wasn't deflowered.
Was he there to see the birth? These people just say stuff and then act like they're like saying something so great.
Okay, then we come to a. Are we getting down to a debate topic?
Oh yeah.
Did the apostles write the Bible? I've been still taking notes. They say, did the apostles write the Bible or someone else? Got the book of Enoch. Jews wrote the
I mean,
book.
why would they?
And it say Matthew 18:25. They was engaged. It wasn't married.
Read it.
I'm about to read it right now.
I got one more. You're arguing your opinion most of this debate. You're arguing magic over logic, and still don't know what God is.
I don't know who he's referring to. I don't know why people they wrote it write a comment that's somewhat generic. I don't know who he's referring to.
He's definitely talking to you.
What was my opinion? I mean, these people, it's easy for them to conversate in the chat, but they won't actually jump on and say something logical. These be some of the people that think we come from a common ancestor of an ape. So I don't be taking them serious anyway.
But you think it's somebody in the sky just sitting there?
Yeah, the same way I think it's somebody on across the other side of the country just sitting there talking to me.
That's not the same.
2,000 years ago, somebody would have thought that was illogical, me talking to somebody across the country while I'm driving a vehicle.
That's
Just because
that's
it's
not the
illogical,
same.
just because it's illogical to you, don't mean it's not logical.
But I'm not saying it's illogical. I'm saying it's not the same.
Just because you can't see something doesn't mean that it's not there.
Can you see it?
Can I see what?
Can you see it? How do you know that it's there though?
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, I got faith, but it's based off the evidence that of what I've observed in my life. I don't need to see my brain to know I got a brain. You got a brain?
But somebody can show you that you have a brain though.
So how can
That's
so
different.
you would have to have faith that they're telling you the truth.
Somebody can show you though. That's
How
the
they going to
difference. Is
show
what I'm
you your
saying.
brain? They're going to take it out,
They could.
and then how you
Now,
want to look at
show
it?
me somebody, bro. People survive from getting shot in their head and all type of stuff all the time, and brains come out. So, but like, can you show somebody there's a God? You can show somebody their brains. You can't show somebody there's a God though.
You also can't show me. It's a lot of things you can't show me.
Like what?
Can you prove to me that you got you got oxygen in your blood? Can you show me that?
As far as like you talk about like scientifically and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So oxygen, yes, we could.
I'm listening. How would you possibly show me you had? I give you a better one. Can you show me that yesterday actually occurred and it's not a figment of our imagination? How would you possibly prove that yesterday existed?
Well, we have to start off as what you see as yesterday. Not for real.
100 hours ago, can you? How would you prove that that existed 100 hours ago and it's not a figment of our imagination?
I think now you asking me, do I think time is in a cycle or linear? You have to ask
No,
me
just
that
the
first. No,
no the way we look.
you would definitely have to ask me that first because you don't know if I believe we're all living one long day or if we're living like separate days. You have to ask me that first.
So how we observe an hour, 60 minutes. How would you possibly prove that 100 hours ago actually existed and is not an imagination?
You ask me now.
How would I even know you
You
real?
still ask me if I believe in time. Now, do I believe in time? I don't believe in time.
How do you know I'm not a figment of your imagination?
You could be,
So how would you know what's true?
but listen, we can pull up on each other, though, right?
I still could just be a figment of your imagination. It could just be a dream, a simulation.
It could, but this a lot more. It's a lot more realer than God, though. Could you get God to do the same thing on his phone?
If he
Can you get God to
did
do
do
the same
that,
thing on his phone?
no. What I'm saying is, if he did, it still could be a figment of your imagination. How do you know what's true at that point?
Because then I'll ask him to do certain things.
It still could be just like in your dream. It could just be your imagination. You could be hallucinating all of it.
So you think it's a hallucination?
What I'm saying is, if you're going to stick with science as your proof of anything true, there's a lot of things that you just take off blind faith. It all could just be imagination.
What you mean? I don't take nothing off blind faith. The word science means study of, but science also
How?
lets you know that we don't have a full understanding. That's why it's called study of.
So how do you know what's true? So what do you trust?
So okay, now that we talk about true, I think true is something that's accurate for a point of time, but it can change over time.
So if you can't see it, can it still be true?
You talking like hidden stuff? Yeah. Like, do I
So
think that my car's still outside? Yeah, I think my car is still outside.
so if you never seen it, can it still be true?
Nah.
Really?
Yeah, and a lot of aspects for sure. Nah.
So if I told you I was thinking of a red car, how does your opinion affect whether it's true or not? Me telling you what my thought is.
I wouldn't.
Right. So something can be true even though you don't see it and have no strong evidence other than
Well,
you
matter
just
of
got to
fact,
take.
because you said that you were thinking of a red car, I'm like, yeah, that's true. Cause you said it. In order for you to conjure that word about your mouth, you had to think about it first. So yeah.
Now, what if I was lying?
Well, you couldn't have been lying because you said it. Because you said
You
red
got
car, so
people.
it had to come to your mind at some point in time.
So people never think one thing and say something else.
They do, but both of those were still thoughts.
How would you know it's true? You got people who are compulsive liars. They can't even help it.
No, but you said you're thinking of a red car. So, but at the time that you said you're thinking of a red car, you thought of a red car. I'm not saying before you said it, you wasn't thinking of something else, but at that point in time when you said it, you had to have been in order for you
So
to
if I,
conjure up that.
so if you asked me what was I thinking when something happened, and I told you what I was thinking, but I lied, how would you know what's true and what's not?
It would have to, which like as far as what it would have to be more, it have to be more than that.
I give an example. If you say, "Hey, this girl asked you, do you want to take her on a date?" What was you thinking when she asked you? If I lied and said I was thinking about going to go just grab me something to eat, how would you know if what I was telling was the truth or not?
That's just a thought. I mean,
Yeah, but how would you know what's the
until your
truth on the
thought,
matter?
I
How would
wouldn't.
you ever determine? Right, that's my point.
But it wouldn't be. Listen, it wouldn't be true until it presented itself, though. That's for the truth, though. A truth would
What
have
I'm
to
saying,
present itself.
there's many things that happen that's just somebody else's thoughts or certain things that nobody can prove other than you just got to take somebody off of faith.
But
When you
once a thought becomes reality, that makes it true. If it's not, if your thought doesn't become a reality, it's not a truth.
what I'm saying is,
If God to you was a thought, it's not a truth.
yeah, but my point though is your opinion on it is irrelevant on whether it's true or not.
It's not, because if you're saying it's true for all, that would include me, right?
No, I'm saying a fact. When I'm saying true as in like it's a fact. Like this is the actual truth of the situation.
So is it a fact that God exists?
Oh, absolutely.
And how is that true, or how is that a fact?
Because he sits up there and he exists.
And how do you know it's a he?
Well, God revealed himself through Jesus
What if
Christ.
I'm God?
Puny God then.
No, what if I'm God? But I'm just asking you this question just to see, like, you know what I'm saying, where you at? Could you prove I wasn't God? What if
I
you
wouldn't
asked me
even
to
waste
do a
my
miracle? What if you asked me to do a miracle and I was just like, nah, I don't feel like doing it today. But you
that
still
would be
wouldn't know. You still wouldn't know. You wouldn't know. The same thing you're doing, you wouldn't know.
no, if you was God, you would be that would just be unholy God. I'd be wasting my time even going forward in life. There
But
would be no point in life at that point.
how would you know that though? How would you know that to be true?
Well, simple. Logically speaking, there would be no point in life if you were God. What am I
How?
living for then?
What if I'm just pulling up this to ask you a couple questions, then go back? Do you know if I'm doing that or not?
No, it's simple. Because what am I living for at that point?
What you mean? This could just be a test for you.
What would I be living for at that point? That's how the
That,
conversation would go.
that's up for you to answer.
Nah, you're a guy. You know everything. So what am I even living for then?
Do you know that I would know everything?
No,
Or you just think that?
I would ask you that question. What am I living for? What am I wasting my time for?
And if I was God, I would tell you that's up to you to decide.
I say, all right, well, I don't feel like living. So, and I don't feel like taking myself out. I'm too lazy. So you do it.
What if I told you I didn't feel like it? It's so many hypotheticals, it'll just keep going.
No. It would come. I would literally draw it to the conclusion that I don't feel like living no more. Do something about it.
But that would be up to me to decide whether or not I wanted to or not. So that's what I'm saying.
Right.
It just be a continuous of what ifs.
And no, it wouldn't. It would be either
It
you do
would.
it. It would either you do it and you're evil, or you don't do it and you're still evil.
How would you come to that conclusion?
So you help me commit
So you saying that
suicide?
God? So, but are you saying that God keep you alive right now and not take your life is Him being evil?
No, God, because the God of the Bible explained why He did things. So essentially, Him prolonging my life is just mercy.
How do you know that?
See, because God of the Bible set up rules, I broke the rules. So He spared my life the same way He spared Jacob's life.
But how do you even know that He even set those rules up? Like, did God tell you He set those rules up, or did somebody else write that down in the book, and then you're like, oh yeah?
I don't have a problem believing stuff that's written in the book.
But do you know who?
I,
Like, how can you prove that is real though?
no, I don't need to know that there was a doctor in my delivery room when I was born. I don't need to see it. My mom word was good enough. I don't need to actually try to prove whether she was telling the truth or not. Her word is credible enough. See, I don't have a problem with eyewitness testimony.
But what if you don't even like these eyewitness testimonies might not even be eyewitness testimonies. It could have been some guys sitting down getting high that were like, yo, let's write something. And everybody was like, yeah, let's write something. And now we right here.
They could have been, but then I should see all the contradictions in it. I've listened to people that was high and try to group together a story. Contradictions all over the place.
Have you ever listened to a group of people that was highly educated, contradict
No,
stories?
the people that say they're educated, I don't see as educated. Who do you consider educated?
Like real philosophers and people that like, you know what I'm saying, like really do like real
You got
reading work.
you send me any quotes of, or at the next topic. Show me or give me a quote of somebody who's supposed to be intelligent, because I haven't seen any.
All right. I'm gonna do that.
Most of these people I've listened to is retarded. They say stuff and it sounds smart until you actually look into it, especially when it comes to philosophy. And a lot of people steal stuff in the Bible, like Spider-Man. A lot of people quote Spider-Man, the whole with great things come great responsibility. That's stolen from Jesus.
Did Jesus steal it from anybody else?
Nah, he's the creator. He invented it.
No, ain't nothing new in the sun.
Yeah, and now you're quoting King Solomon.
Probably,
Again, every
but nothing. But still,
philosophical
nothing.
genius quote comes from the Bible.
It don't come from the Bible.
Comes from God, which is revealed in the Bible.
You can't say
Every
that
genius.
because God could
You
be
give me a genius
anybody.
quote.
God could be anybody and anything.
You give me a genius quote, and I'll show you it in the Bible. Now, if it's a stupid quote, I won't find it in the Bible. But a genius quote, I can find it in the Bible.
Or something close to it, right?
A derivative of it. Yeah, it won't
But
necessarily be verbatim.
now, what you saying right there, a derivative of it. But you telling me that can't nothing be a derivative from somebody else saying it though? Somebody else saying it first?
That's the challenge. That's a challenge that I've been set out for myself. Try to find a genius quote that's outside of the Bible. I haven't found it yet. I'm not saying it don't exist. I just didn't find it.
But at the Holy Bible, right? Or the Bible itself was conjured by people who compiled a bunch of books together that
Then
took
they're a
it from
genius.
a bunch of different people. That mean you took a bunch of collective minds and you put them all in one what's the name? And it gets updated over and over and over again. So half of this stuff wasn't in there, and half the stuff that's in the Bible now wasn't in it wasn't in the King James Bible, the 1611 version. It wasn't in the Latin Vulgate, and it wasn't in the Septuagint. Half these proverbs and stuff like that was not in there. Half these books wasn't in there in the Pentateuch and stuff like that. It just got added in later on though, over the course of a few hundred years. So over time, a lot of people came in and started putting stuff down. This is a
Well,
lot of other people's minds.
take the King James Bible, throw it in the trash, go read the Hebrew and the Greek. Stick with that. You still got most of the Bible.
No, you don't.
You know what the Septuagint is.
But how many books does the Septuagint cover?
Again, I'm not at my computer, so I can't pull it up. We got most of the Bibles compiled.
The Septuagint only cover the first 5 books, though. It don't cover the rest of it.
That ain't the only. That's not the only scroll. You know, you got the Dead Sea Scrolls. You got tens of thousands of manuscripts.
But where does the Dead Sea Scrolls come from?
Again, I'm not sitting at my computer. I don't have every fact memorized. So where does it come from?
It came from some dead soldiers.
Yeah, and a lot of this stuff is dated quite old. I mean, the thing about it is they found different manuscripts in different regions. If there was issues, there should be contradictions in them. The fact that it ain't is the interesting part.
Because
When it
everybody,
comes,
it's banks that's running the whole thing. So if it's banks running the whole thing, we putting all of this together to keep our
Christianity is
financial circle going.
Christianity is the
We
one
just keep
religion.
pouring the money in.
Chris, Christianity is the one religion you don't want if you want to increase your financial money.
Why not?
As,
When you
as a,
walk in the bank, it say stuff about God all on the back of your money. It say stuff about God. Why wouldn't you
yeah,
want it? It don't say that. It don't say Allah.
yeah, because the god of this world is Satan.
How?
What you mean?
How?
What's the best? What's the easiest way to get money? Sex. God tell you to take your money and give it to the poor. Why would I do that?
And God asked you for your money too. He asked you for 10%. What
Show me
God
where
give you
he
10% for?
show, show me where he asked that at.
Tithes and offering.
Where's that at? Old Testament or New Testament?
New Testament.
Nowhere in the New Testament does it say that.
So if I can prove it,
I leave Christianity.
all right, lock. So we're gonna be back on Thursday.
Sure. You give a time or whatever, and whatever your time zone is.
I'm off at 5.
What time is what time zone?
Eastern.
Oh, all
You in
right.
Philly, right?
So yeah,
Yeah, me and you in the same. Me and you in the same. What's the name?
I moved to Seattle a few years ago, so now I'm on the opposite
Damn.
end. Yeah, I'm way over here.
Shit. Well, you tell me when
No,
you
I
free,
mean,
cause I'm gonna be off the next day too.
no, I mean, five. I'll make five happen. That'll be 2 o'clock over here. I can stop what I'm doing. I'll just tell them I ain't doing nothing at 2 o'clock. I'll just
I
clock
bet.
off early.
I bet. No, I don't
All
want to
right.
get away your money though.
No, it's no big deal. This is more important to me for these topics. So that's just one day.
I
Yeah, I'll start work early. Stop at 2 o'clock, and we'll be ready.
I bet.
Cool. And yeah, and I'll bring my laptop on Thursday. That way, I actually got my computer.
Yeah, for sure.
All right, sounds good.
I bet. Peace.
All right, appreciate you.
Peace you.